All right, everybody, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive.
Definitely.
Today, we're heading straight into the heart of the Amazon.
Oh, sounds exciting.
We're talking about the Black Caiman.
Wow, now those are some incredible creatures.
I've been looking into these guys, and I got to say, they're pretty intimidating. I mean, can you imagine coming face to face with a reptile that can grow longer than a car?
Yeah, they're definitely at the top of the food chain down there.
Apex predator, for
hmm
sure. And that's just scratching the surface. We're going to be talking all about what makes them such successful hunters, their role in the Amazon ecosystem, and some of the conservation challenges they face. I've been poring over some really fascinating research, and luckily we have an expert here to guide us through it all.
I'm happy to share what I know. The Black Caiman is a truly fascinating species.
Okay, so first things first, when I saw pictures of these guys, the thing that immediately struck me was their color, almost completely black.
hmm
You'd think that would make them stand out, but I'm guessing it's actually the perfect camouflage in those murky Amazon waters, right?
It is. That dark coloration is incredibly effective for nocturnal hunting. They just melt into the shadows. It's remarkable how stealthy they can be. But it's not just about blending in. Their dark scales also help them absorb more heat during the day, crucial for regulating their body temperature in that tropical environment.
So like a built-in solar panel for a prehistoric-looking reptile.
Exactly.
And speaking of prehistoric, those scales are insane. It's like they're wearing armor plating.
Right.
And those jaws, I was reading that they have one of the strongest bite forces in the entire animal kingdom. I mean, is that true?
It is. Those thick scales are their first line of defense against prey, rivals, anything that might try to take a bite out of them. And yeah, their bite force is phenomenal. They can crush bones, tear through flesh without a problem. It's how they're able to take down such large prey.
Okay, avoid Black Caiman, officially added to my Amazon travel tips.
Good idea.
But here's something I found kind of interesting when I was doing some research. Young Black Caimans, they have a much lighter kind of patterned skin.
Hmm.
I was wondering, why is that? Is it just for camouflage, or could there be other reasons?
It's mostly for camouflage, I'd say. That lighter skin helps them blend into the dappled light of the shallows where they spend their early lives. Keeps them a bit safer from predators until they're large enough to defend themselves. But some researchers also believe it might play a role in thermoregulation. The lighter coloration could actually help them avoid overheating in those shallow areas where the sun's beating down.
Ah, so like a multi-purpose adaptation. Nature is so clever.
It is.
Speaking of adaptation, where exactly in the Amazon do these giants hang out? What's their preferred habitat like?
Well, they're actually incredibly adaptable, and you can find them in a variety of freshwater ecosystems, rivers, lakes, swamps, even flooded forests. But they do seem to have a preference for deeper, more remote areas.
Yeah.
And there are a couple reasons for that.
Okay.
It helps them avoid human contact, which, let's be honest, humans are not their biggest fans. And it also provides better protection from some of their natural predators, like jaguars.
So, smart enough to know that humans are trouble. That's good. I also read that they move around quite a bit, depending on the wet and dry seasons.
That's right. They're very much in tune with the rhythms of the Amazon. During the wet season, when the Amazon floods, black caimans will venture out into the flooded forests to hunt. All those fish and other prey that are kind of displaced by the rising waters make it a buffet for them. It's pretty amazing how well they navigate those flooded forests. They're like the ultimate all-terrain predators.
It's like an entirely different world for them, right?
Absolutely.
So what about when the waters recede during the dry season? What happens then?
Things get a bit more challenging then. The water levels drop. They're all concentrated in the remaining deeper pools. That means increased competition for resources and often more aggressive interactions between the caimans. It's a real life game of survival out there.
Yeah, I can imagine. So I have to ask, what does a black caiman eat? I mean, they are apex predators after all.
Oh, they'll eat pretty much anything they can catch. Fish are definitely a staple part of their diet, but they'll also eat birds, turtles, snakes, really anything that crosses their path. And they're not afraid to take on larger prey, either capybaras, deer, even anacondas.
Wait, they go after anacondas.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine witnessing a black caiman wrestling a giant snake? It's a pretty intense sight.
Okay, that is an image that is going to stay with me for a while.
It's pretty impressive.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So, from snagging a fish to taking down an anaconda, they're clearly very skilled hunters. But I'm curious about their hunting techniques, especially since they're mainly active at night. What senses do they rely on in the dark?
Their night vision is excellent. They can see incredibly well in low light conditions, and their hearing is also incredibly sharp. Even in complete darkness, they can detect the smallest ripples and splashes made by their prey in the water. They're masters of ambush. They'll lie completely submerged in the water with just their eyes and nostrils above the surface, and then boom, they strike with lightning speed. It's remarkable.
It's like they disappear into the water itself, and then, of course, there's the infamous death roll.
Yeah, once they get a grip on their prey, they'll use their powerful bodies and tails to spin rapidly in the water. That death roll, as it's called, generates incredible force. It dismembers the prey, making it easier to swallow. It's brutal, but it's efficient.
Nature is pretty intense.
It is.
Well, even these apex predators have to start somewhere, right? What can you tell us about their nesting and the challenges their young face once they hatch?
Sure. During the dry season, female black caimans will build elaborate nests from mounds of vegetation and mud. And these nests can be quite large, sometimes over 6 feet in diameter.
Wow.
They'll lay anywhere from 30 to 60 eggs and then fiercely guard that nest until the eggs hatch, which takes about 3 months.
Wow, that's a lot of baby caimans. But I was surprised to learn that the mothers actually stick around to protect their young for a while. Isn't that kind of unusual for reptiles?
It is, yeah. Most reptiles lay their eggs and then kind of move on. But for black caimans, that maternal care is vital for the survival of those hatchlings. Those first few months are really tough for them. They're vulnerable to all sorts of predators, birds, snakes, even other caimans, so having mom around greatly increases their chances of making it.
Yeah. It's kind of heartwarming to see that even these tough predators have a softer side.
There's definitely more to them than meets the eye.
But sadly, I know black caimans have faced some serious challenges, especially from humans.
That's true. They were heavily hunted for their skin in the mid-20th century, and it nearly drove them to extinction.
Yeah.
But thankfully, conservation efforts, including hunting bans and the establishment of protected areas, have helped their populations rebound in some regions.
That's good to hear. Are there still ongoing threats to their survival? I mean, I'm assuming there are. What are some of the biggest challenges that they face today?
Well, habitat loss is a major concern. Deforestation and the conversion of wetlands for agriculture continue to shrink and fragment their habitat. And then pollution from mining and agriculture is another issue, affecting water quality, harming their prey. And while poaching is decreased, it still poses a threat to their populations.
So it's a complex situation, but it sounds like there's hope for the black caiman as long as we continue to prioritize their conservation.
Absolutely. Supporting sustainable management practices, enforcing hunting bans, expanding protected areas, those are all things that can help ensure these incredible creatures continue to thrive in the Amazon for generations to come.
Well, I think we've all learned a lot about this amazing creature today, the black caiman. It's a powerful symbol of the Amazon's biodiversity, and it's a reminder of the delicate balance we need to maintain in order to protect our planet's incredible creatures.
It makes you wonder, though, about the trade-offs involved in protecting a species as formidable as the black caiman. What impact does their presence have on other species in the ecosystem?
Oh, that's interesting.
And how do we balance the needs of human development with the preservation of these apex predators? These are all questions we need to keep exploring.
That's a great point. There's always more to learn and consider. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your expertise. It's been fascinating. And for those of you listening, keep diving deeper into the mysteries of the Amazon. You never know what wonders you might discover.
It's an amazing place.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.